Okay, it's been requested I do a cleaning video, and about the most interesting thing, or different thing so far, is cleaning this Christmas tree, as I call it. It's the large gear cluster in the quick change gearbox. And what I do is first I go through, I got the gear disconnected from the others so it turns more easily. But let's go to dirty. The shiny spots you see are the top of the gears. The dark stuff is the swarf between it. So what you do is we go in like this, and we dig out the swarf with this pick tool. And it's kind of a multi-step process. I mean, a multi-pass. You don't get everything initially, and you just do what you can. And I'm using kerosene here today. I had a few gallons of it sitting around for a few years, and I couldn't think of a better use for it than doing this. It doesn't stink as much as gasoline. It's not as flammable, and I think it's a little bit better solvent than diesel fuel. Maybe not, but diesel fuel stinks too these days, especially the stuff with the road tax on it. The agricultural, the pink or red stuff may not smell as much. Then we get that done. Go in here and we flush them, wash the gritty goo down. And this tool really only works at a particular angle. It's almost an angle that the camera can't see, so I'm having to work a little lower. But I'll go over this whole thing once, and then probably do it again, and then I'm going to wrap it all up in saran wrap and try to flush the case out, and then unwrap it and maybe give it another quick go over. Sometimes it helps get right down into the grooves. But oil can full of kerosene goes pretty quick when you do that. Doing this work, so you seem you're continually filling it. This is slow work. Cats are outside the building crying. I don't know why. It's not like they don't get fed. Okay, now I'm going to roll this back a little bit and then flush it that's the basic procedure. This gear is captive here. I can't get it out without taking the fork off. And no, there's no good reason to take that apart. And there's no good reason to take that shaft off as long as we make sure that we don't got any garbage under it. And I'm sure we can flush it with oil. That's it. Maybe you'd like to look at my reverse electrolysis tank. This is, let's go back to 1X. This is some of the parts. Here are the keyway cutters, and it's obviously the cross slide bearing cap. Oh, bearings. My bearings have some ridges in them. I mean, they're not great. What I'm going to do is knock down the high spots real quick with some fine sandpaper so that they don't rub, and the grooves will just be a nice place for oil to collect. Here are my half nuts. They were packed totally full. They weren't grabbing anything. There's a couple gears from inside of the apron. Those are the forward and reverse gears that mount on this shaft. Tailstock. But here's what we came to see. This is the reverse electrolysis, and right now there's a faceplate in there, and it's cooking nicely. This process does not remove good metal. At least that's what I've read, and I haven't seen where it's actually removed good metal. But if it's rust, it'll pull it off. And it's a lot cheaper than evaporust. If a little slower, more parts. Okay, well, that's it for now. Oh, let's look at the lathe a little bit. I'm gonna need some light. Stand by. There we go. Trying to do this without editing. I used to use Movie Maker, and they've discontinued it. And I haven't done anything since this. Here's the saddle. And see, there's a little bit of rust and decoloration on it in the rails, but it's not horrid. I'll get a little more evaporust and clean them up. Some of this is actually dried on paper towels and stuff from the last time I cleaned it. And here's the head, and here's that fun two-speed back gear. You see it's turns real nice. It's quieter in the front position. I wonder why. But obviously I pulled a lot of garbage out of down here. My chip tray is in sad shape. And then this is the spindle from the Brown and Sharp, and the spindle for the Sidney is there, and look how much smaller. We're about the same distance. Compare that to that, so it's half again at least as thick. That's a pretty substantial spindle, and you can see the bearings. The bearings are still stuck on here. Let's go on the other side where there's some light. There you go. That's the bearings. Here's the slit in it. And then there's a there we go. You can see, I guess you can't see it. There we go. See that knobby there, kind of like a pin sticking out? That's kind of strange. It's a little peened over, so I'm not quite sure how that shell is going to come off with that there. And what else do we have? This is the drive for the Sidney 2-horsepower motor. Big old thing. And then the cone drive, and then the V-belt setup for the motor. That's about it. And only 11 minutes.